morning and good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Good Morning Education Show. My name is Rotimi Itai. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, Olushola Lumide. Thank you for joining us this morning on the show.
Good morning, Rotimi. Good morning to our tribe members out there. It's nice being here once again.
All right, fantastic. And on that note, we would like to welcome everyone and also introduce the session as well. We're going to be having a very interesting topic today, but before then, as usual, we'd like to let our audience know that we're streaming from Lagos, Nigeria to West Africa to Africa and the entire world. And the Good Morning Education Show is something you can catch Mondays to Sundays, and we will do as much as possible, as much as it lies within our power, to be on air, to be live, to be direct. And of course, if it's your first time of joining us, please do let us know. We have a veil of blessing for you. Send us your comments, send us your name, tell us your location, and of course, feel free to ask questions as we have the show today. And you could send in your contributions. We will also want to take some of the contributions. And of course, we have several. Okay, Michael is saying good morning. Maya is saying good morning. Thank you all for joining. We're going to start with the headlines today. And the very first headline is saying, who wants to be a teacher? Who wants to be a teacher? Um, Olusola Lumide, any thoughts about this? This actually was a question that was asked uh, by was asked by the chairman Kaduna State Universal Basic Education Board, and while he was asking the children, this was something was sharing at the stakeholders or at an education summit, about the profession they'd love for their children. And he asked, some said ICT, aeronautic piloting, journalism, army, others. But over 200 stakeholders, only one man said that she would like for her child to be a teacher. What's your take on this?
Thank you, Rotimi. I think the facts on ground speaks. And I think it is good to ask us. When I first saw the headline, I was asking, is it a competition like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Until you shed
Yeah,
more light on it. Um, the way the teaching profession is being handled leaves little or nothing to be desired about the profession. And in sincerity, those who didn't signify that their children should be a teacher, not that they are unpatriotic, not that they don't have the nation in mind. However, a drowning man is not in the best position to rescue another drowning man. If you cannot take care of yourself, how do you take care of others? And we shouldn't forget the fact that teachers are meant to mold lives. If they come to class with aggression, if they come to class with hunger, if they come to class unhappy, are they not going to do more evil than good? This is a clarion call for the government to pay more attention to the profession so that we don't keep losing the best hands and those who are really interested in coming to the space and who have the expertise should be encouraged and well remunerated. Then we'll see things turn around. I think it's a good question, and I think I love the response. The responses the chairman got. Thank you.
thank you very much. On that, we also head to another headline. And this time around is the random ESSY among climate action projects, 250 schools of excellence globally. This is talking about climate and climate change and sustainability.
Yes, I think is a we should take the concept of climate change, global warming, environmental sustainability. We should take it to the grassroots. People in the pupils in the primary school should be aware, and I think it will help us when we have understanding. It also affects what we do. You go to the street of Lagos, and the magnitude of debt you see, plastic, nylon, and what have you blocking waterways is much. Of course, the government, local government, try to, remove those debts in the space of another 72 hours. You see that thing. You wonder people eat in the bus instead of putting the waste there inside the bus. When the driver wants to sweep, they sweep it out. People just throw it out from the window. And this and what have you, we've been singing the song of global warming, climate change, environmental sustainability. But I tell you, if you on the scale of 1 to 10, I'm sure only about 2 or 3 will tell you they are knowledgeable or they even know what the concept is talking about. And I think they should take it down to school level, and these things should be domesticated and put in our local languages so that people can hear. When they know, I think it will affect the reactions and actions of people, the way they take care of the environment, what they do, what not needs to be done. Thank you.
Thank you. So let's look at quick one. Science education. FinLab chairman, 6 curriculum overhaul.
That is a curriculum overhaul is long overdue. I'm not sure it's only in science education. I think as of today, I know that the junior school, basic 7 to 9, their business studies have typewriter as part of the topic and shorthand. Now, who is using typewriter in this time and age? These are little things that are supposed to be expunged out of because it is somehow difficult to get the practical. Even if you get a typewriter now, how functional is the typewriter? And funny enough, the keyboard of the typewriter aligns with that of a normal keyboard of a computer that is flexible, that doesn't have to hang your hand, that wouldn't wound you. It should expunge certain things out of the curriculum. Those things are gone. The university, somebody is lying Fortran, somebody is still talking about Kobo. In this time and age, who needs that? These things ought to be expunged. Curriculum should be developed in line with the realities of our times. And that is where we can be learning real time. So I think it's a step in the right direction to overhaul the curriculum. Not only science, everything. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And while you were speaking, she has gone to the bank and she's back from the bank. Derry, Dr. Derry, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. How are you doing?
Dr. Derry, good morning. Nice to see you and hear from you again.
Yeah, good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Yes.
That smile is an evidence of a lot in the atmosphere. Okay, so let's move on. And we have another headline, and this time around, it's talking about Unilag. And I know Darren would like to start with that. Unilag Center to produce 5,000 student entrepreneurs by 2025. Let's hear from Darren first.
Well, I think it was as of last year, there's an entrepreneurship, program building. And I know, if I'm correct, it was one of those initiatives that was as a result of, I think there was this, I'm trying to remember, Dr. Akintoye, an alumni, who donated the space and all those things. And I know our current VC, that's Professor Ogundipe, is a champion of all this kind of, learn skills, entrepreneurship, and all that. So, and I am not certain, but I know there was a talk about introducing the entrepreneurship into the curriculum and all that. However, my major concern may be the lack of elements of learning and interning. And why I say that is, it's a different thing to learn. It's a different thing to be immersed in the learning. So which is what I think has always been our problem in the educational sector anyway, the disjoint between learning and its use when you learn it. So even if it's a welcome development, I am thinking the structure of what is, it's a good thing to have introduced that entrepreneurship and all, but it is now the how of it. Like, is it an holistic approach? Because if it is not, we will still have the same problem to which where they have the theoretical knowledge of entrepreneurship, but they don't still have it to be able to work. So that is one of my major challenges, and which is why one of the reasons I'm always like, I'm always that person for you learn small, you use, like, if there should be a ratio of learning, it should be like you learn 1/3, you practicalize 2/3. That is the only way it actually converts into empowerment. So graduating 5,000 is a good thing by 2025. The question is, does this still convert? Does this still solve the problem of people having enough knowledge and enough um, experience to be entrepreneurs when they finish school? So I don't know how that I say I'm not very certain about how the program works, if there is any deployment of entrepreneurs to real life organizations, or I don't know if they have that in consideration. But that would be my thought. Like, it's not just the graduation. Everybody knows if you give a certificate of you graduated as an entrepreneur, whatever, as in it's a certificate. The question is the conversion into empowerment. So I think maybe I would I'll have to find out more about how the program was designed and how the curriculum works.
Okay, let's hear from Olushola Lumide as well.
Yes, a great submission there from Darren. I think if they really want to help the students, it should be an holistic thing. The one I know LASU practices is skill development, entrepreneurship. Apart from, there is a center and there are about 17 crafts to be learned, ranging from fashion designing to fish farming to leather making, cake making, event planning and decoration, to tourism, to photography. Funny enough is that outsiders who are professional in that field are contracted, and they come around to really train the student on developing that skill. Some will have it just a semester, and there is a set of students who will have it over the span of their stay on campus from 100 level to 400 level. So you choose the craft or the skill you want to develop. Somebody who has been practicing in that field will come. But the only thing I just noticed in that one is that the value chain, pitching, business pitching, the quality of body entrepreneurs and whatever. So personally, I went there to see them and spoke to them that beyond learning the skill, what about monetizing that skill? And I spoke with the director, I spoke with the assistant director, and that there are things beyond learning the skill, some other things can be offered. Like Darren said, they should not just learn the skill, it should not just be theory, they should be deployed to where they will go and have hand-on experience, 2 months, 3 months, just like they have IT or COS. Let them go learn, see the way the business environment works, how business is being structured, and that will really make them entrepreneurs. Some will follow it through, some may not, but at least it will be on record that the school did its part in order to shun out entrepreneurs and make the economy better. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And quickly, 500 students benefit from U.S. Consulate STEM Empowerment Program. Feedbacks on that? Let's start with Olushola and then we'll go to Darren.
Yeah, that's a very good one. And I think the US, the UK, and some other foreign agencies have really been helping students. This one, talking about the STEM education, I think is good. The only aspect we don't know the number of people. The number of private school, public school, because on a scale of 1 to 10, you will see private school maybe claiming about 8, and the public school claiming about 2, because of the exposure those in private school have got, the way they have been groomed and prepared, the exposure they have. Some of these our students in public school, when you even hear US consulate, they are looking at you. What are you talking about? So I think the information should be disseminated more, and we should also give opportunities to those in public to key into it, because I know there are great students too in public school, said that some of them don't really have the financial means to go to private school. I think if they know and see the requirement, the teachers can prepare them for it, and maybe a few of them will be able to key into that, and I think the better for them, also the better for the school. Thank you.
Thank you. Dory, do you have anything to say on that?
Okay, so for me, I think 500 students benefit from US Consulate STEM empowerment program. In my experience of STEM, will I say the time I really got into the STEM thing, I was in Aberdeen in 2018. Like incorporate the STEM education into their own curriculum and all that. And I remember I had a startup that I co-founded with some people in 2019 called STEM Skills. So I have kind of extensive research on STEM and all those things. And I remember there was in 2019 of that, as in that 2019, we organized, there was the Faculty of Science organized orientation for new intakes into UNILAG, and we had the STEM orientation thing where we asked if they even need the meaning of STEM. So for me, I think based on my experience of 2019, the startup didn't continue into 2020, but of course, everything we did that year still stays with me. What I think is, if we got to year one, this was a year one orientation program, and the first thing we asked was, what's the meaning of STEM? I can bet you like, maybe we had, and this was a room of about 500, we had like someone, maybe 10 raise up their hands.
That's serious.
Yeah. So as in for me, as it brought the realization of, wow, like if not even the definition, like the acronym.
Acronyms, yes.
And it is not even definition now. The acronym does not even make sense to people who are in Faculty of Science year one. Then we have a major issue, because they don't even know the full meaning of STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And this is a thing that the US have been propagating. This was in 2019. Maybe they've been on it since 2014. Do you understand? So I think 500, a number of 500, the question should be like, we should start from them even understanding what STEM is. Like, I can almost bet you that probably the 500 that they choose maybe just managed to understand the meaning of the STEM and not the concept of the STEM education itself. Because in STEM education, like just picking science alone, one of the major skills you will consider like a STEM skill or something is research. And that was where we first started the orientation from. Like, if people don't know the meaning of STEM, and I picked that, okay, let's pick science. What is the first thing you should have as a skill if you're in science or if you're in STEM? You should have research skills. Or maybe, in fact, I said research, and because if you don't know the meaning of STEM, and I remember I told them, I will give you 30 seconds to see if more hands go up. And we gave them 30 seconds, and maybe 5, 10, about 20 more hands went up, let's say. That means they do not even realize that they could press their phone and ask Google what meaning of STEM is. So that is to show you the obvious, that they don't even realize that there's something that is called research skills, which is like an element of STEM. So it's just I would say the problem is really deep when it comes to STEM because it's starting from the awareness. They need to first make people aware of, because you'll be surprised that people that should be selected for this program are not even being selected because they're not even aware of what STEM is.
That is it.
They're not even aware of what the STEM is. So they can't even apply for the program. So it's just I don't know. I'm I'm kind of, I could talk about this on and on because I used the entire of 2019 to work on this STEM skills, STEM orientation at university, at secondary, primary school level, and all that. So I have a lot of research on the whole thing. So I would just leave it at that. That I think we should even first start with awareness and let them know what STEM means before we start the whole deep thing.
Well, from responses and feedback like this, it just shows that there's a lot that we're digging and dealing with in the sector, from orientation to crusading, to campaigning, to advocating, to so many things. Well, let's end with this. School director task parents on positive engagement with school. We know that we've had a lot of stories coming up, bullying cases. I don't know if you've heard of the recent picture going viral about a 3-year-old that was
Yes, I saw it.
Over to you guys.
Pattern on the leg of the little baby.
Yeah.
Well, I think parents should be part and parcel of the school. I don't think any parent needs to be told they need to engage the school, their wards attend. Unfortunately, our world, especially those of us who live in the city, they are getting more cosmopolitan, and we are getting busier by the day. So there is little or no time to go. Some of the parents have even left home before the children left, and they won't return until those children are about to go to bed. Really, they are looking for what those children will eat. However, they are not taking care of what may likely eat the children. So they need not be told to be engaged. Somebody, either the father or the mother, somebody should give time, go there, know what goes on in the school. If you are paying so much, are you not supposed to get value for your money? Are you not supposed to go back, find out if what you are paying for is actually being delivered? Especially in 21st century, parenting has to be intentional. We just need to put our eyes there. The issue of, I know we have problem with having to have outsource almost every aspect of our life for somebody who can get it done when then we pay. But there are certain things nobody can do it for you better. You just have to create time. And I believe that if you prioritize something, you have time for it. So it's not just being left in the hand of the teacher. Yes, you could be friendly with the teacher, give so that they can really pay attention to your words and whatever. Maybe it may work, maybe not. But your perception is different from my perception. There are certain things you overlook. I may not overlook. There are certain things that doesn't bother me, but it bothers you. So if somebody goes there on your behalf, what will make you edgy, make you complain, raise up here and say, no, I don't fancy this, I don't appreciate that. The other person may not see in that light. And like Yoruba people will say, so if you get there yourself, you'll be able to see what is being done, then ask questions. Ask the school, not until the damage has been done. You know, when we prevent, we save a lot. Yes, there could be cure for the damage, but however, will the sky ever go away? And these are maybe, especially those in the primary section, nursery section, these little angels are dependent on the adult. They can't take decisions. Some of them have been abused, nobody to talk to, nobody to cry to. They can't even verbalize what they are going through. And somebody that's supposed to be the eye for them is not there because he or she is busy globetrotting or looking for one business or the other. At the end of the day, you get the money, and by the time you now say you are ready to take care of the children, you say, sorry, Mommy, we lost you many years ago. You were never part of our lives. Whatever you have amassed now, I think you did it for yourself. They go their way. And it will also lead to heartache and all that. So I think they don't need to be told to engage the school. Thank you very much.
Amy, you want to say something? Obviously. Damian, are you there? Okay.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yes, we can hear you.
Please carry on.
Hello?
Yes, please carry on.
Okay, now I can hear you. So I was just saying that you engaging your children and the teachers of your children is like extremely important. And I will know this because there are some, like Mr. Olumide said, that some children have challenges, and maybe even the school or the teacher is supposed to even be the challenge, not just what they are even learning. And the child doesn't even have the, like I said, the guts to go and meet the mother or the father to say, oh, my teacher is the problem. And I remember very early on, I have a daughter whose learning style is very different. And I panicked because I was like, my son, who is the first, like that one is, you don't even have, like, if he like does not do assignments, one of those students that if whether he reads or he doesn't read, is going to like come tops of his class. That is who he is. But my daughter is different. And what I discovered, in fact, I was going to make her redo another class because I was having that challenge, like they shouldn't take her to nursery if she's having challenges with nursery too. But I sat down, I remember that time that I sat down, I said, okay, let me try to teach this, my daughter, myself. Like, let me try to teach her myself and see if anything changes. One of the things I noticed is she's kind of a learner like me. But I didn't even realize myself to maybe adulthood, maybe even 3 years ago, that I was a different kind of learner who doesn't like to read, but likes to listen. So I discovered, and I also discovered things like she would rather pronounce or rationalize learning in the sense that if you say, oh, spell the word this or those or things like that, if you tell her to cram it, she won't, like she'll keep making mistakes. Do you understand? But if you tell her, oh, CH is the, I is E, and things like that, she can rationalize learning. She can't cram, as in she can't cram to learn. So it meant that for every class she goes to newly, till now, I go there and go and meet the teacher and teach the teacher how to teach my daughter.
Great.
I still did that like 3 weeks ago when I went for the open day. I had to engage the teacher. I said, look, I noticed that because she just came to a new class, she's having challenges with spelling all over again. And I noticed in you people's book, you are saying she should learn this word. Is it possible you relay this message to the English teacher that she should not teach her to cram, but rationalize the Montessori way again in her learning new words? The teacher was looking at me. I said, yes. And same thing with the Arabic teacher. I had to teach them. I said, you know what? You've been giving her black and white things. I bought in 3 different colors of marker. I said, when you want her to write this, you use red, blue, this. And like after 2 days, he came to thank me. He was like, you know what? That it does, like what he has been struggling with for this thing. And the funny thing was, I told the teacher when he first came and said, you can't teach my daughter this way. And he was like, okay, but people just think I have been doing it. Do you understand? So
yes.
When challenges over that, will teach her, she will still go back to this. And I said, Mommy Nadia, this. I said, okay, here's what you are going to do. I will buy you 3 different colors of marker. I will give you a tab. She will listen to this thing while you are playing the song. In 1 day, The alphabet he has been struggling for months, she was able to learn, like, let me say, 10 of those alphabets without mixing it up and identifying it every day.
Imagine.
To implement it to teach other people in his Arabic school. He was just thanking me all over again. I said, see, I might not teach children, but I understand that people learn differently because I had to learn that the hard way in my adulthood. Do you understand? So imagine if I had not sat down to first study what was a challenge with the education, and I'm just employing lesson teacher upon lesson teacher, and I would think probably she's just a single child, not knowing that it's a form of learning that is different. So I don't even care if the teacher takes offense. Now I will go to the school and go and say, hey, I'm Nadia's mom. This is how you teach my child so that she can learn like a mate, and we are all good. So that importance of engaging, it's very, 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 very important.
Thank you so much. And quite interesting thing. We're already learning. It feels like we're dissecting today's topic already. So without wasting more time, we'll just dive into it. And we're talking about set the time. Set the time. I know that there's so many things that we express as desires and concerns. There's so many things that we also put in our plans. There's so many things that we expect in life. But I've come to realize that a lot of us need to get to the point where we realize that it is us that will set the time. We have the power to set the time. You know, I want Olushola Lumde to kind of birth the introduction for this.
Thank you very much. When it comes to the issue of setting the time, there is no doubt that we have a major role to play as individual. Our fear could disturb us, procrastination could disturb us. And that is why even the way the brain is wired, if you are writing an exam December 25, you read now, you drop the book, you try to recollect, it's as if you didn't read or you never understood what you read. But when it is 1 week to the exam, it's called that your ginger will come up. That is why we set the time, there are deadlines, at times we have accountability partners. However, there are extraneous factors. Some things are beyond us because we are not the only player in life or in the scheme of things. You've set time, you've decided that, okay, this is the time I want, and some things are natural or biological or supernatural. It's like a woman is been given an EDD. You know that the EDD may not fall. It could come earlier, it could come after the EDD date. Yes, a time has been set, so to say, by professionals. But you and I know that coming to give birth is somehow beyond the day of delivery, is somehow beyond the woman. Yes, there are things within our control. We set time, we'll go ahead and achieve it. There are things within our control. We set time, but our laziness, our lackadaisical attitude and ineptitude can make us not to meet up. Meanwhile, there are certain things we have set time, we're giving it our best, but because it's beyond us, we don't really get it done. The point is that putting your very best, humanly speaking, to say, this is when I want this thing done, and give it all it takes, all it requires. If you need to do sleepless night, do it. If you need to work extra hour, do it. If you need to read more, read it, do it. If you need to consult with other people to come and help you, do it. Let it be said that the set time changed, not because of your ineptitude, but because of strenuous factors, which is beyond your control. Like that, you're on the path of progress. Thank you very much.
So much. It's very instructive that you know we see that when we talk about set the time, it adds power to the equation. A lot of people feel helpless, especially when you listen to the gloom in town, you listen to the stories in the economy, you follow news on social media, you sometimes see your own predicament. You look at your past, you look at your mistakes, you look at your own flaws, and your dreams keep reminding you how big and visionary they are, how do we get to make people understand that they are the ones to set the time for their freedom? They are the ones to set the time for their breakthrough. I want to hear from Darian on this.
There's a local parlance that says, now anytime when you wake up, now it be your morning. You know, what that, who are not Nigerians, what that simply means is, it is when you say you are starting that you are actually starting. There's nothing that says I can learn to say I don't know how to ride a bicycle, yet I drive. So if I set the fact that, oh, I want to learn how to ride a bicycle at my age, that is when I am starting, and it is totally all right. And this is what holds many people back, probably because I went on a self-realization journey. So I am totally comfortable with not doing what people are doing when they are doing it. And I think what bothers most people is the fact that they feel they are behind. So they want to work with somebody else's timeline. And at the end of the day, they do not understand, they don't have a strategy. They are just executing other people's dreams. And until someone is able to ask themselves that, this particular thing I am doing, how does it fit into the bigger picture of who I want to be? How does it fit into the bigger picture of who I want to be? And if you ask most people those questions, that what you do today, maybe as a profession, as your lifestyle, anything, does it fit into your bigger picture? Then you will realize they will ask you, what is even the bigger picture? And these are adults, I'm not even joking, like people in 30s, 40s. Do you understand? So the point is, you cannot set a time when you don't have a goal. You can't, because you would just be executing and doing nothing. So I think if I was to speak to maybe someone that was younger, that is working based on somebody else's timeline, I would say spend 1 year to ask yourself what you want to be or do or who you are. Spend that time, because you may think you are wasting that time, but you can only accelerate, or you can only get to a destination that you've planned. If it is somebody else's destination, you would never arrive. You can only get to a destination that will help you achieve whatever, if it is what you plan. So first ask yourself, where do I want to be? Now you can now break those things. I always say there is no vision that is too big. If I say I want to be this, is maybe like 7 years ago, I said I wanted to have a PhD. Then of course, I will set the time and say, okay, I'm going to go on this PhD and do it and blah, blah, and I will get done. Because I first set a goal, then I can set a time to achieve that thing. If you don't set a goal, every other thing you are doing, it will never end, because there's no end in sight. It will never end. You are just running a rat race, because you see this one do this, you run. When they finish their own, you are wondering what you are supposed to do you will never finish. That is just the word.
Thank you so much. I normally tell people that, time is what makes creativity beautiful. Or when you say creation, it makes it beautiful, because I have a child, and the child was maybe a day old or 2 day old. There's a size, there's a frame, there's a shape that you see a 2 day old child. And at that time, you won't say, there's a problem, because that's the size of the child, that's the expected size of the child. But you look at the child over time, and you see that the child is grown, maybe 4 years, 5 years old. It makes you see from perspective that, wow, you see the beauty of time. Sometimes you see someone who has not been too skillful at something, but demonstrates interest, passion, and knowledge. But time refines that person to a place of maturity, dexterity, and all that. You see, this is very important, that people must not see time as the enemy. And that's why we must begin to ask ourselves, there are several things that we need to set time for. And I'm taking that question to Olushola Olumide. I want him to help us, especially from the people who acknowledge professional stakeholders in the education space and to anyone generally in question, what are those things that we must begin to put in priority at setting time for? What are like the top 5 things we need to start setting time for? I want to hear from you, sir.
Thank you very much. As Darren was talking, I was thinking and ruminating. It takes taking roots downward to bear fruit upward. I say that again. It takes taking roots downward in order to bear fruit upward. For me, I think if you want to be you are going on a task, I think preparation should consume most of the time. When you are well prepared, getting the task done will take a little time. Like Darren said, if you don't know where you are going in life, you have only one option: to follow those who know where they are going. Unfortunately, their destination is not your destination. So I think there should be preparation. We evolve as humans. Do you know that what interests you at 15 probably no longer was interesting to you when you were 20? Those things that took your interest at 20, by the time you were clocking 30, those things was no longer interesting to you. No matter how far you have gone in a wrong direction, I think wisdom demands that you return. Don't say, I've gone too far. Because if you keep going, you will end up getting to the wrong destination. By default, you will be wrong at the end. If you return, you can still make a U-turn, and now navigate where you're going. So preparation is key. Preparation in time of skill development, preparation in time of self-discovery, preparation as owning your skills as to where you are going. If you don't prepare, if you don't plan, you just set up because you hear that, okay, at your age, I was telling somebody yesterday, there was a man that graduated in our place. I think the man was 72 when he graduated. Himself, maybe his son or his grandson graduated together. He felt he needed a BSc, and I was the opinion that, do you know that because he achieved his purpose, he will live longer? You know, it's a psychological thing. When you are in your place or purpose or what interests you, it triggers dopamine, oxytocin, and those things have a lot of reflection on your body that gives you sound health. So preparation is key. I would say preparation number 1, preparation number 2, preparation number 3, preparation number 4, preparation number 5. Prepare. When you prepare, I tell you, by the time you set out, people who appear to have been going on, if you remember Usain Bolt, that he ran 2 minutes point something seconds and he has collected hundreds of millions. He said to come and race 2 minutes, 100 meters dash, then 200 meters, he won gold in both. That to come and run for 2 minutes that you people are talking about, I have spent 4 years to prepare to come and run for that 2 minutes. So that tells you the importance of preparation. Others who didn't prepare may appear to be going ahead of you. But if you know where you are going, you are not, if you are planting cocoa, you are not going to compare yourself with somebody who is planting tomato. You are not going to compare yourself with somebody trying to plant maize. You know your journey is far. You need to be well equipped for the journey. Else, you die halfway, and people begin to wonder, did you ever count the cost before setting out? Thank you.
So many things to say, but I'd like to ask David, right? A very important thing, because you know that we're getting to that time of the year where even your conscience begins to become a coach. You know, he just I, I just got back from a trip that, you know, when we're about taxiing to the runway, I just saw a part of the airport, you know, with all these seasons greeting, blah, blah, blah. And it just dawned on me that, wait, oh, hey, are you serious? This 2022 is here. It's Christmas already, you know, and if you take a drive around town, In some cases, you see lights up already, season's greeting cards, there's a store that's close to my house. I'm already seeing they're changing their chocolates, all those gifts and all those hamper stuffs are coming out. I'm like, wow. So I know that timing, our time consciousness beckons on all of us. But as we end the show, I'd like to hear Aderin's thought, especially for those who are already feeling pressured about the new year or about the going year. What can you talk about when it comes to them to just set the time?
I think what I would advise them to do, and this is an advice I even give people on my coaching program. I say at the beginning of a season, it might be a year or whatever, I ask myself, what do I want to achieve? Maybe let's use year, for instance, and I list it in blocks like, oh, I want to create an online course. I want to write 2 academic papers, things I listed in blocks, knowing fully well that those things is as if saying you want to create an online course. Me and you know that like saying it just a line will require months because the process that goes into it is a lot. In fact, me saying I want to create an online course this year, it means that I first need to probably buy an online course that I can use to learn how to create an online course. I start executing everything in creating an online course, purchasing the software and everything. Now, what that helps you to do is the fact that when you break down a big goal into smaller bites, and I always recommend write it, don't leave it in your head, it clogs your brain. And when you leave it in your head, it means that the goalpost will always shift. The goalpost will always shift because even when you've conquered that thing, your head is still telling you, but it is remaining, you did not create that bonus cost. He said, what was not actually on that list. So I would say the way to take your pressure out, and there's something I always do. I always say, when I complete it, for instance, I say I want to create a webinar this month. I will put week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, and say week 1, create adverts. Then every day, that create advert will now be like, okay, create the copy, create landing page, set up ads, like day 3, I break them into sizable bites. So if you are feeling pressured, if you've kept track of all these things you've been doing, and you put done, if I set up advert today, you see on my schedule, like on my whatever, like it's not calendar, like a proper schedule, like I'll put done. The moment I start feeling pressured, you know what I do? I pick up my January schedule, that my thing that I first listed out. I now go week by week and start looking like every week I'm writing done. And now ask myself, how many things have I ticked off? And what are the steps that took me there? By the time I look at all the done I have for the year, I tell myself, you've done well. Because even if it is 3/4 of those things you've done, you've gotten 70%. And it is all right, 75%. It's all right to tell yourself you've done well. Do you understand? It means that from last year to this year, you are not in the same place you were last year that you are this year. You've done well. So it is not 100% is not a distance. Have you achieved above 70% or whatever it is? You've done well. You don't have to have completed everything on that thing. So if you are under pressure, I would say go back to January, go and pick up your schedule at the beginning of January, look at it. And if you don't have one, this is the time to start setting one. From next year, everything you think you want to do, realistically, put it down and start executing them and be writing done, so that when that pressure starts getting to you, you can have something to look back at and tell yourself you are doing well.
Hello, Rotimi.
Yes.
Sorry for cutting you in. What Derin just said, there is a research backing that up, that don't just have to do list, I've done list. I've done list brings you out of the pressure pot. Yeah. So when your to-do list is looking like a monster that want to devour you, shift your attention, go to I've done list. I've done list will now help you assuage your fear, makes you relax that if you have done that, then you can do more. Then you can face your to-do list again. There is a research backing that up. I'm just trying to corroborate what Derin has just said. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And I hope people do not turn done, and have done list to their imagination, because some of them will say, well, there's no January to look back to, but there's a
Ah,
January to look forward to.
Yeah.
And I just want people to understand that there are two things about setting the time. You set the time with belief in mind. If you don't sell yourself belief and you put task ahead of you, it's almost like you're setting yourself up to sabotage your dreams. You must have, that consciousness. And when you work with people or people work with you, you must recognize that as you want to set the time, you must realize that the time must be seen from a place of allotment. It's not just to say that, okay, this time around, for example, I'm going to start coaching, I'm going to write this book, I'm going to do that. You must allot time in that setting of time. Allotment is key. A lot of people don't recognize this, and sometimes abuse begins to set in. I am one that believes so much in time allotment. Even if it means I'm not getting what I wanted to get, I move on and I switch to another thing, because we are all on allotted time. On earth, we have an allotted time. In our task, we have an allotted time. In our age matrix, in our influence plan, in our season, in our businesses, we all have allotted time. We should make the most of it and treasure it all the way. Thank you so much, guys, for a very interesting conversation today. We will be here tomorrow and we're going to have another great time. Thank you, Aderi. I'm still expecting my alert. And thank you, Lucia. Have a lovely day. Thank you all. And we're going to go out
don't
with
don't 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 sit on the alert alone. No.
Thank you so much for having me here.
yes. So
Yes.
we're going to sign off by saying it's always a great morning on the Good Morning Education Show. One to go. It's
It's
always
always a
a
great
great
morning
morning
On the
on the
good
Good
morning.
on.
Morning Education Show.
Have a great day, guys.
Bye.